Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into Sin's Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we are going to be reviewing The Night and the Moth. I read this book for my local sci-fi fantasy book club that I host at Barnes & Noble, and I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I have not read Gillig's other works. I own them, of course I do, because I have the Fairy Lutes. They're on this shelf. So I own them, but I have not read them yet. So this was my first introduction into reading her. First, I do want to say that I liked it. A solid 4 stars. It's a solid 4 stars, and I'm really excited to read the sequel because of that ending. I think my biggest hindrance was the pacing. So that first 25% of the book, it was a little slow for me. I understood why, which is why it didn't bother me so much, but I can acknowledge the fact that it is slow, and maybe other readers might not like that. I know a lot of people at the book club kind of had some issues with that. It's slow. It is a lot of, not so much world building, because you still don't really get a sense of the world. It's setting the tone, it's setting the pacing, and it's setting things up, basically. That's what that first 25% is. I can't really say it any simpler than that, but it doesn't do a whole lot of world building. Like, you get a semblance of world building, but not a whole lot. I'm someone who loves world building. I hate when it's all like info dumped at the beginning, though. I'm one who likes world building throughout the story, and I think that's what this novel, Saving Grace is. That it does build up the world as the story progresses. With that being said, it's weird. Like, it moved too fast, but also at the perfect pacing. I think once they set off on their adventure to go kill and destroy the omens and find the other diviners, you just think, wow, it's almost like a D&D campaign. You get from one situation to another. They don't get a break, and I feel like everything is so close together in this world. So I wasn't really able to ground myself in the world. I grounded myself in the story and the characterization, but I wasn't so much able. I was not able to really ground myself in this world. Like, every traum was so close together, and I wanted a little bit more exploration of this world so I could really center myself in it. Because I was just, envisioning medieval Europe as I was reading this book. And, maybe that was just, it's something we nitpicked a lot about at the book club. Like, is this kingdom just like a bubble kingdom? What about other kingdoms? Are there other kingdoms? Like, what's going on in this world? Do other kingdoms know about the magic and the omens and the sprites? Like, what's happening? Or do the sprites around this kingdom separate it from the rest of the world, like some dark forest that you can't cross into? We all really just nitpicked at that, but it matters because we really wanted to understand the world and the position of this kingdom and the Troms and everything. It really was, it just takes a couple days to go from Trom A to Trom B, and they are just on a horseback. I'm like, I feel like she could have extended the journey, I think, and I don't think it would have hindered the storytelling at all. She could have done that and, just delved a little bit deeper into the omens and the history and the effect that superstition has on this kingdom, because it really does control the kingdom. So I think that's what I mean by it moved too fast, but still at the perfect pacing, because you're just going from one thing, and I'm a D&D player, so you're like, we're going from one situation to another. You know, you have maybe a 5 minutes reprieve. You maybe have a short rest, right? So I just wanted a little bit more of that world building, so I could have ground myself in the world a little bit better. But I do think the story is very, very interesting, and I love the characterization. I love how Sybil, Diviner number 6, was able to hold on to her identity. She did not let go of her name, and I think that that's very empowering. Especially once you hear Bartholomew's story, everyone agreed. Bartholomew, nothing bad is allowed to ever happen to Bartholomew. He has suffered enough. This poor gargoyle. We all love Bartholomew. The funniest character, sweet, heartwarming. I mean, he was just so great. And I think that a lot of the characters, you know, Rory, Mendacious, Maud, we all did have a lot of fun poking at Mendacious, his name. And then Sybil, I think that their dynamic was really, really well done. I loved Maud as kind of like the mother figure in this female knight. She really reminded me of Brienne of Tarth. And just with, you know, how she carried herself and her, you know, her morals and her knightlyhood ideals, you know, she really did stand out to me. And then the omens themselves were very, very interesting. Aisling, the Heartstone Weaver, the Oarsman. I think the omens were well done. And that's what I'm saying. You know, the story is very, very interesting. It has a lot of intrigue in it. It has a lot of tension that builds up, that makes you kind of forget about the lack of world building, you know? And I did forget about it until it was brought up during book club. And I'm like, oh my God, you are right. So you know, it's something I couldn't stop thinking about since then. But it has such excellent characterization. I liked the tone. I liked the atmosphere. I liked those dynamics. And Bartholomew, he was just absolutely amazing. And nothing bad is allowed to happen to Bartholomew. Gillig. I will say the plot twist at the end, I knew Benjen was going to do something. I knew he was not going to be, you know, such a great guy, king that they all wanted. I knew he was going to do something shady. I just didn't know what. So when the what happened, that caught me off guard. I was just like, damn, you're really doing this. Like, you're not just stabbing your friends in the back. Like, you're really just like stabbing them all in the back. Okay, good to know. So yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting novel. I really liked it. A solid 4 stars. So on that note, I do recommend it, and I'm really excited to read the sequel. And now I'm even more, now that I know her writing style, I'm more excited to read, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I was about to combine the titles into one. I'm like, that's not right. I was about to say Two Twisted Crowns. Wait, no, that is book 2. What was I going to say? My mind is weird. In any case, thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with every book of your friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.